Time to test your skills. If you claim to be really good with a commander, you should prove it. I'm talking about solos here because if you're actually as good as you say you are, you don't need to rely on your allies' help, right? I will use official mutations because most people are familiar with them. There are 4 levels: quiz, midterm, final exam, and dissertation. Quiz is for anyone who wants to test their skills with this commander. Midterm is for people who are decent at this commander. Final exam might be difficult even for seasoned veterans, and dissertation is for the best of the best. There are 2 broad categories: multitasking and head-on. Multitasking tests, you guessed it, test your multitasking skills. The mutations for the tests are based around mutators that require you to be in multiple places at once. Head-on tests generally test your ability to deal with the mission, but with mutators that make the enemy stronger. In general, these don't require you to be in different parts of the map to deal with the mutators. Testing rules. None of the tests will have slim pickings or microtransactions because those are unfun mutators. No mutators that the commander is generally bad against, for example, Zagara versus Missile Command or Tychus versus Killbots. No notoriously difficult mutations like Aggressive Recruitment or Code is the Void. Those are at the PhD level. For the player, no cheesing. This means no dead-based cheese or float-based cheese. Sniping Scythe of Amon's livers from the back is not considered cheesing. Level 15, 90 mastery, so no 180 mastery cheats. And of course, regular solo rules, which means you can't load from replay after encountering the enemy, you can't use your allies' resources, you can't change the game speed. You can, however, choose the enemy comp. You get more bragging rights for harder comps. Today's tests are for Tykus. He's one of the strongest commanders, especially after Lone Wolf was added. He's good at head-on fights with non-P2 and both head-on fights and multitasking with P2. There won't be any multitasking tests for non-P2 because nobody uses P0, P1, or P3 for these kinds of mutations. There will be both multitasking tests and head-on tests for P2. Let's start with non-P2. The quiz will be Growing Threat. This will test your knowledge of the map. Do you know the locations of the hybrids? Do you know when the hybrids will come with attack waves? Do you know the escort wave patterns? For the midterm, we have Delivery Guaranteed. This will test your knowledge of the map as well as medevac usage. Are you able to deal with multiple shuttle waves and then an attack wave? Will you be able to deal enough damage? The final exam is Hell Train. You will need to be able to deal tons of damage to trains that have 2 lives. How can you maximize Sam's damage output? And finally, the dissertation is Train of Pain. Tychus suffers against double-edged, so as a Tychus expert, you should know how to deal with this, right? Now for Lone Wolf. There will be 4 tests for head-on and 4 for multitasking. First, the quiz for head-on is Burning Evacuation. Emmy is known to be a bit crowded at the ships. How can you space your outlaws to keep them alive against Avenger Infested? The midterm will be Never Say Die. Where will you put your outlaws? Will one outlaw be able to handle an entire wave? Enemy comp matters a lot here, so don't choose a weak one. Next, the final exam will be Call It a Comeback. How well do you know the attack wave patterns? Where will each outlaw be during each stage of the game? The dissertation will be Enter the Nexus. Tychus is pretty good against Heroes from the Storm, but you have to be good with spacing. And what about late game when multiple heroes come? What will you do? And now for the multitasking tests. The quiz will be Certain Demise. You will need to clear the map and be able to focus on the reanimators. For the midterm, we have Doomsday Report. Can you take care of props, dodge nukes and orbital strikes, and keep your SCVs alive to pick up crystals? The final exam is Bad Weather. Bad Weather is considered one of the easier Void Rift mutations. Can you solo a Void Rift mutation with the best Void Rifts commander? And the dissertation is Mass Manufacturing. PhD level Tychus players play this as a warm-up. Do you want to join them? So, Tychus main, are you up to the challenge? Here is a summary of the tests. For non-P2, the quiz is Growing Threat, the midterm is Delivery Guaranteed, the final exam is Hell Train, and the dissertation is Train of Pain. For P2, head-on, we have Burning Evacuation for the quiz, Never Say Die for the midterm, Call It a Comeback for the final exam, and Enter the Nexus for dissertation. For multitasking, the quiz is Certain Demise, midterm is Doomsday Report, final exam is Bad Weather, and the dissertation is Mass Manufacturing. And that's the end of the test. Like and subscribe if you want more tests for other commanders. Comment your thoughts on the challenges. If you want to submit a test for review, please go to my Discord. Thanks for stopping by. Class dismissed.